just gone to, well, last weekend we went to the Springfield, Missouri library book sale and splurged and bought a whole bunch of books. I thought it would be fun to share some of the ones that I got. My focus was I hit the garden section and found the gardening books and then field guides and things of that nature. So I'm not going to show you all the other stuff we got, but these are the main ones, and I'll just go through and show you what we found. This is the pocket guide to the familiar flowers. The field guides are worth going for in the gardening books. I tried to focus on the ones that were just the best of the best. There were lots of ones from all around the world. Just got the ones that were indigenous to this area. Name That Flower, Identification of Flowering Plants. This is a good botany book. That'll take a while to go through. And here's one called From the Ground Up. It's a food grower's education in life, love, and the movement that's changed the nation. And it talks about the local food movement. And here's the Pruner's Bible by Steve Bradley. Still have a lot to learn about pruning, so that'll be good. And Illustrated Herbal by Philippa Back. This is Red Oaks and Black Birches, The Science and Lore of Trees by Rebecca Rupp. And we don't have our greenhouse up yet, but when we do, here's a Greenhouse Gardener's Companion by Shane Smith. That one looks like a real good one. And this one is Making and Selling Herbal Crafts by Alice Nadeau. And this has really good ideas if you want to start your own herbal business selling at craft fairs or flea markets or farmers markets. And here's a fun book by a British author named Penelope Hobhouse. I first learned about her in Victoria magazine. On Gardening is what this one's called. There was. And an extra copy of Tasha Tudor's Garden by Tova Martin. I already have and love this book, but since I have children, I thought I'd get that as an investment for their library. And this is a huge book. It's a $50 book. I think I paid $6 for it. They were having a half off sale. It's called Botanica, and it shows how to grow just all sorts of things, vegetables, flowers, trees. It identifies them, has tropical, subtropical, and temperate. Huge book. This one's called Wildflowers by Homer D. House. This is a really nice big book with old botanical prints in it. This would be a nice treasure book. And since we're in Missouri, Missouri Gardener's Guide. This one's by Mike Miller, and it has things that do well in this climate. And I got 2 copies of this book. One was in the cheap books and one was in the more expensive books. Same book. So I paid less for one than the other. This is Wildflowers and Weeds, and it's, let's see who wrote it. Booth Courtenay and James H. Zimmerman. And since I have 2 copies of the book, and it's really for the Great Lakes area, which I didn't realize when I bought it. It's in the front somewhere here. This is where the region that's covered. So if you're one of my viewers and you live in that region, just let me know and I'll send you a copy of this book. This book's called Gifts from Your Garden, and this is another one that has good ideas for making gifts and things that you could also sell for a business from your garden. This one is A Garden's Grace, Down-to-Earth Lessons and Simple Rewards by Nancy Hutchins. And there's fun to read books like that because it's the author's experience along with the information. This is Language of Wildflowers. Nice book in a slip cover. It has pretty old pictures and quotes about flowers and what they mean. So that's a fun one. Field Guide Your Own Backyard by John Hanson Mitchell. And this is for suburbs and urban gardens or yards, what's found in there. And this is Simon and Schuster's Guide to Plants and Flowers, which has just mainly garden flowers, which is good because I know more the weedy plants than I do the garden plants that you buy. Field Guide to Butterflies. Never have too many of those. And Peterson's Field Guide to Ferns. The Herbal Drugstore. This is by Linda B. White and Stephen Foster. Stephen Foster's a favorite of mine. I love his photographs. He does a lot of field guides and flower books. Making Arbors and Trellises by Marcianne Miller and Olivier Roland. And this is Renewing America's Food Traditions, Saving and Savoring the Continent's Most Endangered Foods, edited by Gary Paul Navin. I think I'm saying his name right. Simon & Schuster, that's hard to say, it's a tongue twister. Guide to Trees. Never have enough tree field guides. They never seem to have just the right picture. And Wildflowers of the Ozarks. This was actually on my Amazon book wish list, so even though it just has black and white drawings instead of photographs, sometimes those are really more helpful to help you identify. And here's one by Graham Kerr, Growing at the Speed of Life, a year in the life of my first kitchen garden. So it's a memoir. Beekeeper's Handbook by Owen Meyer. We're wanting to get bees at some point, so that will be handy. This is a nice book, Pods, Wildflowers and Weeds in Their Final Beauty. And it shows you what they look like once they've gone to seed, which most field guides don't have. And that's by Jane Emberson. Now I'll put a list of all these books that I'm showing down in the comments in case you want to look them up for yourself. This is Fall Color and Woodland Harvest by C. Ritchie Bell and Ann H. Lindsay. And this one's not our area, but it's still, I love learning about native cultures and how they use plants. Wild Plants and Native Peoples of the Four Corners by William W. Dunmeyer. And then we have, there's only one book on permaculture in pots. So this one's meant for urban people, but anyone could use it obviously. And the author is Juliet Kemp. Missouri Orchids by Bill Summers. Haven't seen many orchids yet, but you haven't looked. Compact Guide to Missouri Birds. And then we have Trees for Urban Missouri, Missouri Trees, Key to Missouri Trees in Winter. Are you seeing a pattern here yet? And What Flower Is That? Sterling McAvoy. Over 1,000 photographs in full color. Another flower ID book for just the garden flowers that aren't wildflowers. And another book about the Ozarks, That's the Way It Was, by Buford Foster. And last but not least, Wildflowers of Eastern America by John E. Klimas and James A. Cunningham. And this one has full color photos. This is an older book. And I imagine if you looked on Amazon, you'd probably find most of these for pretty cheap, since they're older books. But that is what we found, and now we have to make bookshelves to put them all on, because we have a lot of books and not a lot of shelves. But it's worth it. So I hope that you have enjoyed this book haul video and that you're inspired to go out and look for books at yard sales and thrift stores or estate sales. They're usually hiding around, and it's good to have a library of field guides, and especially books that teach you how to use wild foods and gardening, because the internet's nice, but if power goes down, you don't have that information. So it's good to have a good library on hand. Thank you, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.